Will the new Autarch Alliance system, the system by which endgame rewards are distributed for top-tier inscriptions, be the death of large kingdoms? In this video, I'm going to give you everything you need to know about this new Autarch Alliance system, at least everything that's knowable so far. And there's huge implications for how big a kingdom really can be, and this might be the end of big imperiums as we know it. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today I've got a topic that has taken a good bit of investigation to try to actually unpack. And this is the Autarch Alliance system. This is a new endgame system at the end of large KvKs to distribute crucial rewards for inscriptions. Now, we're all trying to take in the formation system and what it means for our gameplay and try to assess how the heck do we move forward in this new view of the world? However, the Autarch Alliance system is possibly the easiest way to get endgame inscriptions as far as I can tell. Let me show you what I mean. When you look at the formation system in your account, you'll notice there's a special area right over here called the Codex. When you tap into the Codex, you can see the full range of inscriptions that are available for any particular armament. And yes, every armament has a different selection of inscriptions. Of course, these inscriptions are very powerful, doing things like adding stats, or if you look at the ones that are in orange, they add special effects that are extremely powerful. This may leave you wondering, well, Chisgule, how exactly do you obtain these extremely powerful inscriptions? Of course, I would want one of these on my armaments to make them more powerful. And the KvK rewards are the ones that are in orange on all of the scroll type armaments. In other words, if you scroll down this list, the arch formation, wedge formation, V formation, echelon, all the way on the left for each one of them, you'll see the little book icon. That book icon symbolizes that it is a scroll type armament. Now, if you look in the rewards for the KvK shop, you'll see that they are all the scroll type. Let me show you. This is what the new KvK reward shop looks like. I'll explain this more in depth in a minute, but if we zoom in, you'll notice that symbol. That is the scroll symbol. This is all of the scroll type special inscriptions. This is important context for why is it that the new Autarch system may be the death of big kingdoms. But first, let's go back to the Autarch system that I was showing you at the start of the video and explain to you how it works. The developers actually shared a patch note, I think it was a couple weeks ago, explaining the Autarch testimonies, but at the time, I honestly didn't have enough context to really take in what was being said and what was happening. So let me try to explain very simply based on everything that I've figured out so far, which is that if your coalition occupies the Great Ziggurat and your Crusader fortress is not taken by an enemy camp, then you will have an Autarch Alliance. That Autarch Alliance is the one who owns the Zig. The Autarch Alliance can distribute what's called an Autarch testimony, which you see selected on your screen, to different alliances within the coalition. And then the leaders of those alliances can distribute them to their members to get special rewards. The Autarch testimony is basically like a passport to a level of rewards. If you have the testimony, then you can gain access to certain types of rewards in KvK. If you don't have a testimony, then you only can get the rewards that do not require you to have a testimony. So because I know that's a little bit confusing, I'll say it one more time, which is that whichever alliance holds the Zig at the end, assuming you own your Crusader fortress, becomes the Autarch Alliance. The Autarch Alliance distributes testimonies among their own members and to other alliances in the coalition. The other alliance leaders, presumably in your coalition, then distribute it to their members, something like that, okay? So you want to get one of these testimonies, and for some reason, there's this number floating around. I don't know where this number came from, and I've been trying to chase down the source, and I have not been successful yet, but they're saying the number 300. There are 300 of these testimonies to go around, which is why I said at the start of the video, will this system be the death of big kingdoms. Because let me tell you, in a big kingdom, we have a lot more than 300 active big fighter contributors. And to not get one of these rewards is crucial. This is why I started the video by explaining that there are these very powerful inscriptions that you want to put onto your armaments, and you can only get them, so far, using this system. Now, there is one other way to go and get really powerful inscriptions. I'll explain that a little bit later on. And there are several inscription types we don't have a way to unlock yet. I don't know how you get them. And I'll speculate maybe, but as of this moment, this is the best way to get the most powerful inscriptions. And the thing about these inscriptions, folks, is that they don't require special materials to use. What I mean by that is that today, if you want to get a KvK reward, sure, you can treat yourself to the pattern, but you still need 150 legendary materials to make a weapon, or 90 legendary materials to make a helmet. I mean, GG, bro. On my restart account, I have 7 coins saved up. I don't have anything to spend them on because I don't have the materials to make any of those things, which is why this reward obtainable with the Autarch testimony is really important because it requires nothing special. Get the testimony, apply it to the armament immediately after receiving it, and clap cheeks because you're stronger. It's like that simple. This, of course, means that there will now be a huge source of drama in large kingdoms figuring out how the heck to distribute these things. And for some kingdoms, it might be easier. Like my restart kingdom is much smaller than my main account, which is in 1254, one of the biggest Imperiums in the game. My restart kingdom is an A-tier kingdom. We have very intentionally stayed out of Imperium. It seems very reasonable to distribute 300, I would assume, if that's even the number. And honestly, 300, if that is in fact the number, is a lot bigger than I would have expected it to be. I mean, thank goodness, because there is going to be so much drama over who gets these rewards. When I was chatting with Ruz about this, we actually hypothesized that perhaps this is a way to low-key encourage people to not group up in big kingdoms to address lag issues when there are too many people in a single KvK, in a single place. It's harder to play. And honestly, when I played on my restart, which is just an A kingdom, I was having a freaking blast. Just no lag, crushing, having a good time. Every pass opening, very fun. So I've got to say, perhaps this is intentionally a nudge for kingdoms to get smaller and smaller. And it doesn't surprise me in some ways if that's actually what's happening here. So if we make our way back to the Codex, as I promised, you may be wondering, Chisgule, how do you actually gain access to the special inscriptions for some of these other armament types, the instrument or the flag or the emblem? And unfortunately, we don't know yet where you get them for the emblem. The emblem ones are pretty powerful. They don't have any special effects. They just give an amount of stats. I mean, technically we'll call this stats. That's like really powerful. So 8% boost to normal attack damage. Like, yeah, that's really good. But I hit the source. It says traveling, dispatching, and the armament shop. Okay, so maybe I could get this. Wait, no, it's the emblem of the North. This is telling me the emblem of the North. This is not even telling me the source, I think, for the inscription, right? It just says emblem of the North. I don't know. Maybe that's for the inscription. I think it's just for the armament. Also, we don't know where you get the ones for the instrument. Okay, I hit source. It doesn't tell me. I don't actually know. I'll show you another screen we could look at potentially that might reveal sort of where this could be. But before I do that, I want to first talk about the flag slot. The flag armament, we actually do know how you can get these special inscriptions. Let me tell you, this is a grind that you just need to mentally prepare, that it is going to be a very, very, very long time. This is if you go back to your city, you hit the courier station, hit the letter in the middle there. This takes you to the shop. And if you make your way over to the superior section, you can see that flag icon on all of these inscriptions. This process I've talked about in several of my other videos, so I won't go in depth here, but this is where you can get the flag type special inscriptions, which, yes, these effects are obviously very powerful. Increase your normal attack damage resistance by 3.5%, and troops deal 8% more skill damage for 3 seconds when you reach 80% rage. Pretty cool. But you're going to have to recycle 180 legendary armaments. That's if they don't have any inscriptions on them, by the way, in order to get one inscription shard chest, and you need 8 of those. So mentally prepare for basically having this in, like, I don't know when, the future, indeterminate, at some point. Hopefully when they've made armaments easier to get, because presumably that will happen down the road. Which leaves us to the 2 other slots where we don't really know where exactly you would get them. If I make my way back to the armaments specifically, and I'll show you the best one I've gotten this entire time. This is on an instrument, and like, wow, this is for sure the best I've gotten. If I hit the little orange thing up over here, that's where you can go to inscribe. If I try to find the source of this, it tells me the armament shop. But I looked in the armament shop, and it's not in the armament shop currently. I can't find it anywhere, which means maybe it will be there in the future, or maybe this is just a placeholder, which is what I think is maybe likely. I don't know. Both of those are perhaps equally likely. Even if you look in here, it is not present, as far as I can tell, in the list of rewards that you can obtain from this. Yeah, so maybe it'll come here in the future. I don't know. But we're a long ways away from it. This is why I was saying earlier in the video how significant it is that you can get the special inscription for your scroll slot fairly easily as a KvK reward, right? Now, that shop only opens up at the end of KvK, and unfortunately, that doesn't open up for KvKs that are already in flight. It would have been really amazing if at the end of this KvK where we're winning, we would be able to go in and actually purchase that, but that's not the case. This portion of the shop is, as far as I can tell, unchanged, but there is a special inscription-based shop where you'll go in and get some of those inscription rewards. Now, you can still get a legendary inscription, or at least, let me say this differently, you can still get an inscription for a legendary armament, but it isn't one of the special inscriptions if you do not have an Autarch's testimony. In other words, if you are not one of the 300 people that get selected, assuming it is in fact 300 people, then you can still get an inscription for a legendary armament. It's just not one of the really good ones, okay? It's like, you know, the ones that are, I don't know, like 2.5% of stats or 3% of stats or whatever. So will this ultimately be the thing that kills big kingdoms? I don't know, but I think it's definitely a nudge in the direction of encouraging people to spread out to other kingdoms, which honestly, if you're not a big kingdom, this is great news. I mean, there will be players that will be looking to be in smaller kingdoms for easier access to rewards. That's definitely going to happen. Overall, the formation system has been a lot to take in. And even though I've been spending a fair bit of money, I mean, every day it's like the $35, right? In order to get more armaments, I still, as my best armaments, sometimes only have a single stat on the armament. And a huge majority of what I get, I ultimately just recycle because it's trash. I'm getting gold gathering, damage to barbarians, troop load, siege stats. It's really difficult to get a really good armament. And although I got extremely lucky early on, right over here with this particular armament, let me show you something that's a little crazy, okay? Not only is the randomness for the attributes that you get on your armament, but the stat value of each one of these is also random. So this is health, attack, and defense, 3.5, 3.3, 2.6. That seems pretty good. I got another legendary archer one. I was hyped, but then I looked more closely and I was like, wait a minute, 2.2, 2.1, 1.9. Even if you get a legendary armament, and even if you get triple stat for one troop type, which is pretty good. The only thing better is all damage, defense, health. That would be the best. The values for these things could still suck. So I got one. I was like, let's go. And it's still good. Okay, it's better than anything else I've got. Although, I mean, I have an epic one. Look at this. This epic is pretty close to the legendary I got. 2.3, 1.7, 1.7. Okay, this is 2.2, 2.1, 1.9. It's honestly like, I could add this up. It's like, what, 0.5% of stat points better on the legendary? I mean, it's not much better. So, yeah, there's a lot of randomness here. And I have strong feelings about this, but I've already rambled on enough in this video. If you got value, then do me a huge favor. Throw a like on here and consider subscribing to the channel for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos designed to help you learn the armament system, get value, and smash your enemies. And if you're looking for way more detail on how to level up the State Forum, what level to take it to, the whole process of armaments and inscriptions, I'll have a card in the end screen. It's a live stream where we answer questions throughout the entire time, addressing all of your basic concerns around what the heck should I be doing with this system. Alternatively, if you want an in-depth video explaining the details around the special inscriptions, then a card will be in the end screen in just a moment down over here that I think you'll find really helpful.